Michael D. Leonardo, also known as Mikey Scars. The government says he's a high-ranking member of the Gambino crime family.
No Excuses with Michael D. Leonardo. I'm your host, RJ Roger, and we got Junior joining the show today. Glad to have you here, brother.
Appreciate it. Look like his picture. That don't look like his picture.
That's the crew.
That's the three of us?
Yeah, it's just the crew.
That's a movie Paid in Full.
That's my favorite gangster movie, and if I had to guess.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. How you doing, Michael?
Me? I'm doing great. Feeling robust today.
Well, thank everybody for being here. We got 178 that just jumped in. I'll try to take as many questions as I can. Guys, you can do me a huge favor. If you can put the word question or put a series of Q's or a series of question marks like before your question, it'll help me be able to identify your question a little easier. So I'm usually not reading the questions up front. I'm just looking for symbols. I'm looking for the word question or a question mark. So you'll help me and you'll help yourself get your question answered if you can do that for me. So there we go. Michael, why does everybody got to contact you? Every time something happens on here, we get like flooded with emails and questions, and everyone says, Michael, please give me your opinion on this.
I'm really flattered about that. I mean, the channel that we all built here speaks volumes on fact-finding truth and separating it from falsehoods. So, it is really refreshing. Like I said, I'm flattered by it. Hold on a minute. Joseph, I'm doing a live as we speak. If you want to jump on, maybe you can show the whole world your face finally. Not yet? All right. I'll get you one day, maybe. All right. I love you, brother. See you later. Bye. That was Joey D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Say hello to everybody.
I tried to get him to come on before too.
Not yet.
He said no, he's not coming.
It's not soup yet.
Yeah. So, we'll jump right into it. Sometimes people don't like all the blah blah build up in the beginning, the glad handing, but and I'll start with Junior because I talked with him about a little bit about this also. But Patrick Bet-David, to anyone who doesn't know, is one of the bigger YouTubers, probably the biggest business entrepreneur channel on YouTube. He's a powerhouse in media. He's the contributor on Fox. He interviewed President Trump just before the election. That's how big this guy is. He's one of the big ones. But most of these bigger media outlets, these bigger channels, they don't pay no mind to YouTube mob genre. So it's very difficult for us to get, the blockbuster viewership in this genre because everyone just overlooks it. Even Vlad talked about how he never thought it would be anything to be interviewing former gangsters and stuff like that. He started doing it when he seen it was working for Patrick. So Patrick was really the guy that kind of paid attention to some of these guys and gave platforms to them. He's the guy that really launched the Our Thing podcast in many ways, Sammy's podcast. He brought him on, 22 million views that interview got. So it's helpful for Patrick to interview people like Franzese and A-Light and Sammy and all these people because it really does, a rising tide lifts all boats. So it brings more awareness into here. So with all that being said, what was your guys' reaction to when you saw Sammy's reaction to Patrick? Should we play it first, or you guys want to answer some questions first?
You know what? I think let's play for
Play
the
it,
people
yeah.
who do not see it, and then we could break it down a little bit.
I agree.
Now, you know what? Again, Patrick is not a mob genre guy, but he has stepped into that. He put his foot in that pool. So he's dealt with a lot of different guys. And then he had the junior show like we talked about, I think it was about a week or 10 days ago, John Jr. show. So, and it stimulated the whole genre. Now, Sammy and Patrick, as we know, I mean, not from me saying it, it's from them saying how close they really were. And this is going to set up, again, the mindset of a guy like a street guy, number one, a guy who's in a leadership position, a guy who was extremely capable, and a guy that lost his mind in the life. And you could see the breakdown of how he could turn on the biggest guy. The only thing he could do is get hurt by Patrick doing what he just did. He turned on a guy that built him, to give him that flat platform. So this is what I've been telling everybody forever about him. You just watch it and see how he goes off on a guy that was his best friend, families interact.
Dead son's lying about that. So but what really pissed me off with this whole fucking thing was that Patrick McDavid did this interview. Everybody knows there's 3 toes he ratted. Why didn't Patrick McDavid fact check and talk to him about it? He came out and did a script. He told the story. He must have practiced it 100 times. Even when Patrick tried to interrupt once, he says, well, hold on, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and just kept talking. He was scripted with it. It was all bullshit. Everything in it. John Gotti, like I said, must be rolling in his grave, what he just did. And I look at it that he's mad at me because of the dad and me and our relationship and what happened. I could blow it off a little bit. But to go to the degree that he went through, it's disgraceful and disgusting. Matter of fact, he made his father look 10 times worse. He admitted that he lied about killing the neighbor. And he obviously, there's all kinds of things that put me in that car. Why the fuck would I confess to 2 fucking murders if I wasn't there and didn't do it? Now, how would that help me that I confessed to it and took the weight for it? But they knew it anyway. I didn't have to confess. They already knew. And they knew exactly what I did. There's tapes. The FBI, what do you think? They're fucking clowns? So I wish I didn't do it. It wouldn't be on my list. And it showed me how confessing to that made me better. It helped me.
Fat Irish 90 is saying that was the biggest softball interview. And I like Patrick Bet-David, but he didn't challenge him. He didn't fact check him. He didn't nothing. He fact checked that the Rockefeller lady that came and said she was sex trafficked by Rockefeller. He fact checked her more. He was way harder on her. A sex trafficking
It's
survivor.
harder on everybody. I don't understand the thing. Here's what I think happened. I like Patrick too. I get along with him. I used to get along with him. Very good. I don't know more. I'm done with that. He don't know that. He might not know it on this interview. But what he did was disgusting. Here's what I think he did. I think he did this interview knowing that it would break my balls. Everybody would see it. He'd get a couple of million views, right? Then he'd say, Sammy, come on down. I'll give you a platform and you can do that. So he gets another couple of million views off of me. You're not using me that way. You deal with some other fucking gangsters who don't know how to think, who got their fingers fucking so far up their ass, they don't even know what they're talking about. I'm getting disgusted with all these fucking bullshit things. But I think that's what he was thinking. But I didn't respond to Patrick. And have no intentions to. I was thinking to doing this interview with Anthony and a few other people. Even Michael Franchise said he walked away, but he even said in an interview, I saw it, and I'll use it, whether he likes it or not, is that you can't walk away from the life. You could walk away, but you're not a civilian. You're always a made guy. And if you walk away and they decide to kill you, especially if you cooperate, that's what they do. But so the whole thing, all of these interviews, you know, the Mafia is a beautiful thing where people have stories and talk about them. I've seen a lot of people talk, and it was a pleasure to listen to, not myself, but other people. Now there's people here who are just, they're destroying the Mafia more than anything. The image of it. All these crybaby, lying bullshits back and forth. And most of them don't have a story. And they have this stupid fucking plan. If I fucking say something about Sammy, he's going to answer. And now people will listen to me and him arguing back and forth. So that.
Let me just pause it for a second there and see what you think about someone that's like, so is there any rationale that you have where you can understand what makes Patrick disgusting? And in many ways, if you watch the Patrick and Junior interview, what you will see is, even though at times Junior tried to get Patrick to come in and, you know, give his opinion and stuff, Patrick never said a bad word about Sammy. I thought Patrick was very measured and tried to be as balanced as he possibly could. What do you think?
Oh, well, you want to talk about fact check? Patrick should have fact checked him with Junior. He didn't say nothing about Sammy, Patrick. He could have challenged some of the stuff that Sammy had said on his shows he did before through Junior and got Junior's response as to what Sammy said. Patrick was gracious enough not to do that because this was more about Junior's platform and letting him talk. That's what you do. Sure, you want to ask a tough question. That's what I agree with that. You have to ask tough questions. But you got a guy like John Jr. coming on here and venting, because that's what he did. He vented and presented a case. That's a whole other thing. But Sammy can't question Patrick for doing that. You can't question anybody for doing that. And it's very interesting. And what he said, just I picked up something again, is that he says, why would I confess to double murder? Why would I confess to put myself there? Well, scare me. You said that about me. And I said, why would I want to confess to a murder that nobody knew about? And you said I was lying. He's the liar. Sammy's the liar. Look, this whole thing, and you'll see by the next segment you play, this guy has to control the narrative. What he's mad about Patrick was he expected Patrick to call him so he could give Patrick the ammunition to battle with Junior. You understand? He wanted to use Patrick as a tool, as a surrogate to battle. This is what he's done his whole life.
You're not a child.
Sammy's done this his whole life. He's used other people to do his dirty work. This is what he's pissed off about. Patrick didn't check with him. And he's pissed with Patrick because he thinks Patrick's with him like he's an underling in the street. Or
He's just got that mentality. The guy did almost 20 years in jail, so he still got the same mentality that he did back then. He's stuck in his old ways.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Mikey, you made a good point. He's been like this his whole life. Nothing has changed him. He's only gotten worse. He's gotten so bitter now because he don't have the control to have somebody killed. He don't have the control to shut somebody up.
And that's what these business guys don't understand when they deal with him. That this
right.
Think about a person that ordered almost 20 murders. The power that he felt, that he probably's been holding on to his whole life. Now he's frustrated. He can't, do it anymore.
That's it. And he does it through others. Now, a guy like Patrick, even Michael Francesi, right? He thinks he could control them. Look what he told Michael on that show that they had a couple of weeks ago we played. If you talk to me, and I don't talk to Michael at all. If you talk to me, Michael, I'm never talking to you again. Don't talk to me no more. We're not friends.
He gave him the ultimatum.
He gave an ultimatum like Michael's with him. Michael far superior to him as an intellect and as a businessman. So, but Sammy never gets it. And the people that deal with him think they can reform him. He alludes to this thing about God again. that he just took it on. It's a game for him.
Yeah, but he wants to shoot butter in the head, dig him up.
Yeah, everybody. He wants to kill everybody, and that's the narrative here. So again, RJ, I went off on a little tangent, but just to clear that up, what's good for somebody else isn't good for him, and vice versa.
No, but Junior made a good point. And guys, I refer to Mikey Jr. as Junior too. So I don't mean Junior Gotti. I'm talking about Michael's son. But Junior just made a good point about this concept that's what I saw in the whole thing about this mentality. And I can tell you, and I talked to you off the phone about this before, Michael. I've had many meetings with big Manhattan publishers, producers, production people, agents, people in the legitimate world, writers that write books and work and partner with guys. And you know the most common thing that you hear when you're in meetings with these people, with these business guys, these upper world powerhouses, they have a suspicion of working with guys like yourself. Right. They always say, never, do a clean business deal, but never become friends with these guys because they're always a gangster. When things don't go their way, they will always revert back to being a gangster. Now, I have a different relationship with you, and I know you're totally outside the norm with this kind of stuff, but this kind of reaction, it's what causes these guys to have this standoff and this type of opinion on partnering up and working with guys that lived the life in the streets and lived as a gangster. Because Sammy has this thing of like, Patrick, you're with me. Like in the mob, he's with me. Why you talking to him? You're with me. He's on record with us. That ain't how the real world works. Patrick has to
anymore.
I mean, Patrick is loyal to his entity, his business, his people, his investors, and things like that. He's just doing an interview. This is his business. He doesn't have to. But Sammy must be viewing it like a betrayal.
Yeah,
he crossed him, and he ended up like.
No, but in his mind, he crossed him because he's.
Oh yeah, I'm just
because his control of his whole narrative is about the mob, and anything about the mob or anybody in the mob, especially, the way Sammy. Imagine Sammy hates the Gottis. How does that work out? I mean, the guys should hate him, not the other way around. He's free. Everybody's in trouble or dead. So, but this is what this guy's about. He feels he could even control Michael, and this is just not playing to Michael to fire him up. Michael knows that. I don't even have to talk to Michael. And by now, he knows it. And by now, like when I had dinner with Patrick that time, what's your beef with Sammy? I laid it out. He's going to bite you too.
Whatever happened with that anyway? You went for a nice dinner. What
we picked up the check. It was a nice check too.
Yeah.
You know what? The other part of that part we just played that I found interesting is like sometimes we think so in our own lane, like we think so narrow. So he says you just want to sit down with him and get a couple million views, and then come sit down with me and get a couple million views. Michael, I heard Patrick say he was sitting down interviewing a guy, I think it was Dame Dash, and he said not long ago that he has like $200 million liquid cash, and his net worth is $300 million. He said this himself publicly. You know how many views he has on YouTube? 2.6 billion. If you take his valuetainment and his PBD, YouTube, 2.6 billion. He's not worried about 2 million views. He's not worried about a couple million views. He's not worried about the ad revenue that he's going to make off of it. It's not about getting a couple million views. Patrick is thinking in a whole nother way. He's involved in the intellectual world now, the political world, the system. He's not thinking at all as narrow as Sammy is reading this. And I don't know Patrick, but I would imagine the last thing on his mind is, man, I want to get some 2 million views, which pays maybe 10 grand. He's not worried that's not what he was trying to do. He's trying to maybe put together something big, sit a bunch of people down. I will agree with that.
Well, he does.
But he didn't do anything nefarious.
He doesn't answer to Sammy.
What Sammy's upset with here?
Because Sammy feels like he answers to him. You understand?
RJ, I sent you and Mikey a picture of scorched earth. Scorched earth. It was a picture of beautiful field with grass, and the other side of it was all barren and burnt. You remember I sent you that?
Off the top of my head.
Yeah, I believe so.
It was in your email. But
my
anyway, if everybody could just picture that, it was like I said, beautiful feeling. Next thing you know, it was scorched earth on the other side. Think about everybody throughout Sammy's life until the people on YouTube. Everybody on YouTube that he dealt with, whether it be a content maker or somebody formerly in the life. It starts out with green pasture. Then you have destruction. You have everything's barren. Nothing could grow anymore. This is what happens when you deal with Gravano.
It even happened with his show, with the Hour
Everything.
show. I think Carol, he stepped away.
Well, everything he's done winds up.
And that was a great show, by the way. I enjoyed it.
Everything he done it winds up horrible. There's a horrible ending. People and projects. The guy's evil. He's demonic. There you go.
And look what he had started with Jimmy Calamandria. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody remembers that one. That poor guy.
That's Sammy's. That's before you met Sammy with the green, and that's it. After you deal with Sammy, parched land, nothing could grow. That's him. That's when you deal with Gravano. That's what you're left with. And there's nobody that's an exception to the rule. That's what happens. Nobody in life, ever. So anybody deals with him, we've been saying this, that's what's going to happen. At your peril, deal with Sammy Gravano. You want to play the other side part of that?
Yeah.
And then we'll get to all these guys' questions.
No, when you say that, you really make me think, because you're right. There is like a common narrative off the top of your head. There was I know him and John A. has had issues. Jeff Nadeau, James Proctor, Jimmy Calandra, Dom Cicali. I know him and Franzese at a time had a problem that they may have resolved it. Lee Cole, there's like a consistency that you see where it's just very difficult to work with Sammy and maintain. And now Patrick Bet-David. The Patrick Bet-David one is different though, because we can see what caused the problem. That's different. See, we never know what his side of the story is. Like maybe what happened between him and, let's say, Cicali. We don't know because we wasn't there and behind the scenes. But we know
Louis Melito.
Okay, but this here, we can see exactly what the problem, what caused it, what has him angered. And I can't really see what has him so angry. I can't really see it.
I'm going to show you. Ready? Here's Patrick Bet-David, right? Here's John Jr. Here's Sammy. Here's Tommy Bellotti and Louis Melito. You see the correlation? Tommy Bellotti and Louis Melito became friends, which is insane. They may have done something together. What did he do later on? He had Louis killed. Patrick Bet-David makes friends with Junior. What does he want to do? He goes out to destroy Bet-David right now. Calls him a traitor, disgusting, and all this other stuff. And when you play the other one, it gets worse. Watch what he calls him now.
All right.
That's what happens. There's that line. You can't have a different opinion, or you can't be loyal or do business with anybody else unless it goes through him.
So what kind of an interview? And this is out of your mouth. You want to talk about me?
Well, there are a lot of comments in Patrick's thread on that interview of how they agree. They're saying the same thing. You're going to let him just say stuff like that and not say nothing? Like, everybody knows this. Like,
I'm surprised Patrick isn't calling me now.
He's real quiet now.
He's real quiet to me.
One.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's the best one.
That's it.
But you know what, though? It's like, it's actually kind of concerning when you think about it, because Patrick is a powerhouse, a big, huge force, huge in media.
Don't matter. This guy kill you no matter who you are, brother-in-law, best friend, you die.
But just thinking on an intellectual standpoint, why would Patrick feel like I need to call Sammy? What's the gain that Patrick needs? Patrick has no need for Sammy. And I'm not disrespecting. It ain't about Sammy. He has no need for none of us, for anybody in this genre. None. Zero. It's a service to the genre for Patrick to pay attention to it.
Now, look at his posture when he said that. You got to call me. He's up off his chair. His hands are open. His face has got very aggressive. This is how aggressive he is. You see it? You're supposed to call me, Patrick. This is a message. It's a blatant. It's a message to everybody. He's supposed to call him. Look how aggressive he is, his posture. Watch the way his body moving, how he's fidgety. He's so fucking worked up. And this is the way, when he was in the street before he killed somebody, these are the things he did. I told you. The walks I had with him, the talks I had with him at different times. When somebody was going to die or was something serious, this guy, he's very animated. You could see it.
Yeah, but this is what we were talking about earlier. It's different that you witnessed this over a 20, 30-year period. When you just read stories and you just hear about stories, it's different than when you experience it over a long period of time. Like you said with the hand gestures, his experience. So it's good that you're here to break it down. But I'm laughing. I hope everybody else is laughing because it's pretty funny.
Just one thing again, just a little one. I got to throw him a little shot. I still don't see the religious aspect. He's got James Cagney, the gangster in there from the Roaring '20s. And he's all in red and hell against.
Yeah, but
that's how religious he is.
He wants to do a Wild West showdown. He wants to go back to back and think.
Yeah, with Junior. Junior. Go ahead, brother. Rip him. Let him rip.
He would call me all the time. I'm surprised he's not calling me. If you see this, Patrick, call me. But it's not going to be a good call, bro. We were friends for a lot of years.
Is there a two-way? This is the other thing. The phone doesn't work one way. I'm always trying to say this. When people feel like, call me if we're friends. Because I would think.
He's the boss. He's the boy. He's got to get the okay from Sammy. He's got to get the blessing from Sammy.
That's the narrative. That's what I saw when I looked at it. It's just more, he's the underboss mentally. He's still the boss mentally. That I'm still the boss. You should have checked in. You made a move without my approval.
Right.
You made a move off record.
And what happens in the life when he was around when you did that?
Gone.
He's frustrated.
We're not anymore. My friend don't do that.
What happened?
I wouldn't do it to you. The people who've been breaking my balls and I've been saying, no, he's a good guy. He didn't mean anything by it. He probably did. I'm covering for you. I'm tired of it. Everybody's asking it to me, and I'm tired of covering for you. You wanted fake news, you called the media? You're fake fucking news. That fucking interview was fake fucking news. You're no better than the news media. Would you do it for viewers? You got 80 million fucking viewers. What do you want?
Big retailers don't want you to have this zoom lens, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. So there's the zooming power of a...
Yeah.
This is good reality TV.
Yeah.
They all use your name in their title.
I know.
Your picture in their
my
thumbnail,
picture, my
your
name,
hashtag.
and then they get views and people because they think, let me hear this. Let me see what's going on. Is Sammy going to fight back? Is Sammy going to do this? No, Sammy ain't going to fight back. Sammy does what he does. I tell my story. Normally, you don't hear me talking about nobody. I talk about them. I always say that the Mafia was good people, great people. I knew their families. I love them. I don't bullshit. For me to say you're a jerk off, you're a jerk off. Or at least I feel you're a jerk off. So I'm tired of this. I've been before Christmas, even my family members, my ex-wife, why would you allow that?
Why
People
would you
like
allow
that,
that?
friends, close friends of mine. Why would you allow that, Sammy? Because they want me to react. Don't you understand? They're jealous of envious. I was talking to the guy in Canada this morning, and I told him the same thing. I said, you're becoming successful. Watch the way people change. And that's jealousy and envy. Nobody will call you up and say you're doing great. Then I spoke with Anthony, got on the phone, Anthony Reggiano, and he's dying to do an interview with me, with him, because he knows all about John Jr.
Yeah, but Anthony better
The
be careful.
302s, he ratted on Angelo.
What'd you say, Junior?
No, Anthony better be careful doing that interview.
John's right-hand man, Angelo Ruggiero, and
I think that kind of goes into some different stuff here.
Yeah.
I think the Patrick stuff's kind of.
I think the point's made.
Yeah. You know, I guess if you force yourself and try to look at it with the most balanced mind possible, the only thing you could derive from it was just say his mindset is still that I'm the head and all submit to me, and it's just I don't know, it's a strange thing to create an enemy out of Patrick. Man, that's really, I mean, for something that's uncalled for, because Patrick really, if you really watch the interview, I don't think Patrick did anything wrong in that John.
It don't matter what he did. It doesn't matter what would have happened in that interview. That Sammy could never be mad at him.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse.
So,
You know, he even says at one point, we missed it in the interview somewhere in there. Sammy tells him, I got all the 302s. That's all you had to call me. I'll tell you what to do. Again, he's telling him how to run an interview. He's telling him how to attack Junior, not to interview Junior. He wanted him as a surrogate to abuse Junior. So again, it speaks volume. You call Patrick fake news. Yeah, 2 billion. How many views has he got all total? 2 billion.
6 billion. He has 530 million approximately on his PBD channel, and 2.1 billion on his Valuetainment channel. The guy
he just slandered him. He just slandered Patrick Bet-David. Tell him he's fake.
Now, you know, this thing, the most common thing that you hear from all the content makers when they have an attack on someone is they say, well, you're using my name or you're using my face, and which whatever you're talking about, you tailor your title and your thumbnail to whatever it is you're going to be talked about. It's very, very common or standard. It's not using anybody, but this is Sammy's page. So let's just do, and then a quick rundown here. So there's Trump's name. Okay, there is the Grim Reaper guy. Here you got John Gotti's face. Here we got Roy DeMeo. You got Pete Gotti, Louis Melito, Whitey Bulger. If you scroll through Gaspipe Casso, as you scroll through, there's Alan Kaiser. You know, you will see all these different people that he has in his thumbnails and his pictures and his titles. There's right here is Neil. Roach, and you can continue. There's forget that guy's name. So as you scroll through, you will continuously see. There's Franzese. There's
the Alan Kaiser up there too, by the way.
Yeah, there's Joe Massino. There's Joe Watts. And you can scroll all Gaspipe again, Joe Watts again. You know, you will Louis Melito again. There's Chin Giganti again. There's Joe Bonanno. It doesn't matter how far you scroll. There's Mikey DeBats. You will see that his channel is done no differently than anybody else's channel. And so, yeah.
All right. So, let's see what everybody has to say on here, and then we could get to any questions you and Mikey have for me, or statements.
All right. Let's see. How was your relationship with Michael Franzese?
We don't have it. I never spoke to the man. I feel that personally he's an intelligent guy, savvy businessman.
You know,
I'm just surprised how he gave Sammy a shot. He gave Sammy a shot. Sammy didn't give him a shot. Michael gave him a shot, just like Patrick gave Sammy a shot. Well, you see what happens.
Yeah. And you know what? I was never really for you sitting down with anybody else that does a show. I mean, yeah, with Patrick Bet-David or something like that. Yeah, of course. But I think it would be very interesting to see you and Michael speak, because you're both pretty deep when you speak, and you know, you analyze things. So that'd be pretty interesting.
Thank you, sir.
And again, Patrick is the only mob content maker that has evolved into a lifestyle brand. but he don't have to talk about the streets, the life, the mob, nothing. He's speaking. He's doing European tours. He's getting major book deals. He's done major appearances. He can talk about politics and all type of lifestyle and culture things and gain viewership. So you are 100% right. When guys like that interact with people, they're doing you a solid. It ain't the other way around. Those Patrick and Franzese are giving an extension. They're giving an out, like they're saying they're stepping out of their success to come give attention to something that does no benefit to them. Marky Mark, did you hear Bernstein say Gene is the underboss of the Gambinos? It's not really funny. It almost seems like the guy wants to try and get people jam. Anything on that, Michael?
No, I truthfully, I didn't hear anything like that at all. I'm not going to call Bernstein a lie. I don't know the guy, never talked to him. You show me a picture, maybe I know what he looked like. If you give me a bunch, I pick him out of a lineup. But I have no clue. Very interesting. I don't know. I'll give my opinion. I'd be stunned if Genie got back involved like that.
If Junior wanted to become official boss, would the captains have backed it? What happens if they didn't?
They would have backed easily. It was just it was like just when John took over, it would have been just without a murder. He would have easily been backed at that time. If he don't catch the Scorch case, that's just a given. He would have been the boss. See, there's this misnomer that a lot of captains didn't like him. Yes, of course there was. The Joe Butchers, the Jimmy Browns, who he slighted, and guys like that who felt stepped over on a lot of the stuff, and the way Junior acted at times with them. Yeah, there could have been some, but they were going to vote yes anyway. John Jr.'s took Vinny Butch under his wing. Joe Butch's son. Joe was away. He hung around Junior a lot with us. He went out with us a lot. So you talk about Louis Brage. Very comfortable with Junior. We went to dinner. If 2 weeks went by, we didn't go to dinner with Louis and his crew, it was a lot. Yeah, there are plenty of other captains there. Lou Valerio was kept the captain and kept alive because of Junior. No way he wasn't going to not back him. I controlled some of the captains there. I got a pulse on the Brooklyn guys. So, no, he would have been voted easily, and nobody would have said no, because that's the way it was. Again, don't forget the plot with the other guys. If they were co-conspirators from the background, Junior would have been dead if Gaspipe don't get pitched. So there's a lot of things to go into this.
Let's see here.
Never heard of Anthony Raimondi, so we could pass on that. Sammy Davies.
Do you have any William Priest stories?
Peist.
Peist, I'm sorry.
No, just that we have, James, just what we know out there about Peist with the information. That's it. I never met him.
Bet David pushed Junior on his 302s as hard as he pushed Sammy about it.
Right. Great point, Hawk. You're right. Goose for the good, goose and gander. True.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way that he was. He even said to him, "What would your father think?" Which, he was putting it right in his face, like this is what. I thought it wasn't a completely unfair interview at all.
But you know what? See that question? That is a very tough question to ask him.
Very tough question.
You're putting him on the spot because how does Junior answer? What does he say, RJ?
Oh, Junior said his father probably would have disowned him. Probably would never spoke to him again.
And you know why he would disown him?
Because his father.
Why did when Patrick's asking that question, how deep is that question? What was he saying? You went in, you talked to the FBI. Junior responds, he wouldn't have talked to me again. Why? Because you went in and talked to the FBI. He called him. he called them out for going there talking to the agents and the prosecutors. That's the toughest question.
Yeah, but
You
that's
can
what
ask-
you're there for. That's why he's got 80 million subscribers, because he asks the tough questions.
It could be just
That's
that
it.
one. You Sammy wanted a total annihilation of this guy going through his 302s. That's a whole other subject, right? But that one question speaks volumes in what Patrick did. He put him on the spot about his father, his love for his father, his opinion of his father, how he would view Junior. And not good. He'd never talk to him again. Why wouldn't John talk to his son ever again? Junior had to answer that and say, because I talked to the government.
And credit to Junior, he did say it. So
Yeah, exactly. And the Patrick Faston, the toughest question. That's it.
See. Let's see. What was Joe like? And
Which Joe? Dave.
not sure what he means by that. Can you
Yeah,
retype
what's
that
Joe?
question? Sammy told Franzese, if you go on no excuses, we can't be friends.
Imagine that. There's two
yeah,
people way bigger than him, two intellects.
but you got to give Sammy credit just for being who he is and not hiding it. I mean, listen, if we're gonna be harsh on him, looking at it the other way, I guess at least he's fucking honest.
Yeah, he's an honest lunatic.
There you go.
Michael, let's assume what Sammy said, that they're friends and they've been friends for a lot of years. You know, friends is a word that I use with great moderation, but assume that they are friends. Would you, and Junior, I'm asking you the same question. Would Sammy have something to be upset with, and if he's viewing it from you're my friend perspective?
Well, Sammy, just my opinion, when Sammy uses the word "you're my friend," he's using that as leverage to say, you're with me, you're supposed to check with me. There's no friendship there. They're acquaintances. They're not friends.
Yeah. You know what it's like?
Takes decades.
Yeah. You know what it's like? If anybody watched the show The Penguin, I don't know, maybe spoil it, but if you watch the show The Penguin, he says he's his family and he strangles them. And that's what doesn't matter. It's the same thing with Sammy. So they got that right in the show The Penguin. Friend, family, it didn't matter.
Exactly. You look how, again, to be redundant, look how Sammy treated his friends. There's nothing more to say on that. His friends is a different word for him. It can be related. It don't matter.
Is it hard to, like, could you tell me this? You live your life by the same, like, moral standards and the way you kind of are as a person. You don't turn it off just because you leave the mob. Like, you dress the same, you eat the same, you go out the same, you're still the same. You see the world in a similar way. Is that what he's just doing? Like, is that really just how he still sees the world? That I'm Sammy the Bull, the underboss.
Yeah, he's demented.
Remember that story? I
think murder changes you. Murder changes you. Rewires your brain. You know what I mean? I really think that I keep going back to it. I think it plays a big part in it.
No, he was born that way. He's born evil.
Yeah, but it's amplified as well. It had to be.
Yeah,
you're right. He was
power.
born. Yeah, you're right.
With the power, it got amplified because he had an easy road to take lives when somebody didn't listen to him. Louis Melito, and again, I use Louis as an example all the time because Louis did nothing but what Sammy said, talk to Tommy Bellotti and the boss, Paul Castellana, and broke up partnership with him. Louis broke up partnership with him. And Sammy even says that. Sammy didn't break up partnership with Louis. Think about that. Louis broke it up with him. Even Sammy says it happened that way. So look what happened to Louis.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't know that he realizes how insane his argument sounds to like a layman. To a regular person, you sound insane. It sounds insane, like insane, to have that kind of perspective on a guy that has a big media empire. Like, what's he supposed to do? Like, never run his business again? Like,
this is why you had guys like Gaspipe running around. He killed his architect.
Yeah, good point.
The guy murdered his architect. I mean, is that insane?
Yeah, sick people. Buried a kid alive. These sick people.
Yeah, that's disgusting. He was special, Gaspipe.
What was Tommy Sneakers like? Was he a serious guy?
Oh, Tommy Sneak's a good guy. We were very close at one time. We went out a lot together. Tommy was a good guy.
Let's see.
Hopefully he's still alive.
Joy Farachi's here. She says, Sammy slanders my brother Alan, calling him a junkie. How disgusting.
Well, Joy, look, don't take offense to that. Everybody knows about this guy. But he has to justify to make the other person look bad for the evil deeds he does. Again, imagine chopping up your brother-in-law. So, Joy, again, I'm not minimizing your brother's death and how it occurred and happened. The other one was planned and plotted. Everybody planned and plotted. People that supposedly loved him and he loved. So, again, not minimized, but he has to justify that those people were very bad. Even if your brother was a drug addict, even if Mike the Bat was a drug addict, Nicky Cowboy was a drug addict. So what? So what? Why are you taking their lives? If you like them or love them, and you know they loved you and loyal to you, why not help them instead of killing them? So don't take offense, Joy. And I'm not minimizing your brother's death by Sammy's hand. Just that nobody pays attention to that junkie stuff about your brother.
And then you know what? The truth always comes out. And didn't he just admit it? Didn't he just slip up and say it in one of these interviews recently? So.
Yeah, look at Michael. That's a good point. Ajay, you remember that? We talked about that? About when he talked about Alan being murdered? He said he did it. And then
he said he shot him. Yeah, he said he shot him.
Yeah, pretty good. Tell everybody how we put that, what we picked up.
Yeah, it's a Sigmund Freud theory of what they call a Freudian slip, where the subconscious mind will accidentally relay the truth and then it'll catch itself sometimes. But your subconscious will just slip it out every now and then. But yeah, he did say that. He said, I killed him. I mean, well, I didn't shoot. And then he kind of yeah.
No, he said I shot him. He didn't say he said I shot him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Joy, he's admitting it. And you know what? And there was another interview with Joe Arpaio, the sheriff out in Arizona. They had a clip. Maybe you can find it, Joy. He admits Joe Arpaio pushes him, who's 90-something years old, pushes him in an interview. They were sat down across from each other. And he says, Joe says, you killed 19, but how many did you really kill? How did you really kill? He admits to shooting 2. Who's the second one? RJ and Mikey and I talked about it. There could only be one other because we know all the shooters on the other one. He admitted again, it's probably your brother, sorry to say. But he admitted to Joe Colucci, of course. Who's the second one? He slipped again. He said 2.
Michael,
Joey, we're going to call him out, Joey. He ain't getting off the hook with your brother or anybody else. I told you, he's the gift that keeps on giving. Every time he opens his mouth, I could do a show on him every week. I could do 3 shows a week on Sammy every time he opens his mouth. But we're going to be beyond that. But I'm never going to let him go, Joey. Don't forget that. I said he's an agenda of mine. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but he's never going to get off the hook with me. Never.
do you think Sammy and Gaspipe were government informers in the 70s and 80s?
No. Nope.
You mentioned before, I don't know if it was in relation to them, but you said after people start piling up bodies and stuff, and the more work you do in the street, you start knowing yourself, I'm going to get the chair if they ever catch me, or you start knowing that you got a lot of dirt on guys. Do you think, though, while those guys were still in the streets, not saying that they were informers or anything, but do you think it hits you even before you're arrested, where you start thinking listen, when they do come and get me, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go. Do you think that's already in your psyche before? Was it already in Sammy's psyche before 1990 arrest?
In the street, I would never think that. but seeing the way his behavior is after the fact, and I don't mean now after the fact, I mean after the first bid, yeah, I believe he had it in his head. But that back then, I'm going to say absolutely not, because I was stunned, just like the rest of the street was in major panic, because nobody believed Sammy was ever going to flip. So I'll say it now, because I feel like, yeah, he had that get out of jail free card in his head. He knew it was going to be rough, but I think he had it in his mind. You know, it leads me to another thing, another window you just opened up. If it's true, because nobody's ever heard these tapes, supposedly Roy DeMeo had tapes in the trunk of his car when he was murdered. The government found tapes. That's a rumor. Again, I don't know if that's true, but if it is true, Roy DeMeo. So if he had that plan, like you said, was that going to be his get out of jail free card? No matter how egregious and sinister all his murders were?
RJ, another question. Let's see, it's up a little bit. How close was Sammy and Frankie DeChico?
Extremely close. Extremely close.
Yeah, you see them together a lot?
Not a lot, but, Sammy had his club. Frankie was on bad there. If they needed each other, wanted to talk, boom, they were right there with each other. No question. And then when they took over, after Paul was dead, Sammy was there at the club, 3 times a week at Paul Castellano's old club, which became Frankie DeChico's club. Then after Frankie was dead, Jimmy Brown had the club.
Yeah, because I find it odd how he always glorifies Frankie. I do. I find it a little. He always talks great about Frankie.
Yeah, he's got to talk good about somebody, because he really.
I don't know. I question things.
No, he really liked Frankie. He respected Frankie. Frankie was probably the only guy that could have held him down, because we could see John did not.
Yeah, but Sammy and Gaspipe are really close.
Very.
So you got, I don't know.
But listen,
I'd like Sammy to talk about. I would like really to know what went on there. How do we know Sammy didn't know what was going to happen? Not saying he did it to Frankie. How do we know he didn't know something? If he
in my heart, no way.
I don't know.
And I'm not going to ever stick up for Sammy ever.
I know that, but that's why I like to bring it up, because I feel like the way he talks about Frankie, it's like he's trying to make up for something now.
Yeah, I get your point, but I was with him, Sammy, a lot at that time after Frankie was killed. And I remember one day we're standing on 18th Avenue. I might have told the story way back. He told me, if I ever find out it's these grease balls on 18th Avenue, and we were on 18th Avenue by Tallies, he suddenly bodies all over this fucking street. And you could see the rage and the anger in his eyes, like I described his demeanor in the past, even earlier today. You could see he was really fired up over Frankie's death.
But then he was taking walks around Dyker Park for how many years with Gaspipe?
Yeah, but that could have been over the drug business. It could have been anything, like administrative business. Look, there's 2 guys that would have ate each other in a minute. They would have killed each other in an instant. They didn't really like each other. They were business associates, and in that world, administrative at that point. So did they have a lot of business together? Yeah, probably. With union stuff especially. The Lucchese guys had a lot of unions. So a painters union, concrete union, just keep going with unions. And Sammy controlled all our unions. He was the guy. So they had a lot of business. Again, there was a drug business that nobody really talks about. It's inferenced. So, and I think if we ever get Gaspipe's material, it ever gets released, maybe there's something there that he puts it on Sammy and others. I don't think there's just Sammy. I think there'll be a lot of others. But that would be out of Gaspipe's mouth. But those 2 guys, they would have killed each other in a second. They would hug each other, kiss each other. Next minute, they'd be chopping each other up.
We got 974 people in here, by the way.
Where's everybody else? They didn't show up today because of a little football?
That's the biggest live audience we've ever had on YouTube. And
is it?
I usually just type live Q&A. I don't put a title or a thumbnail in. So maybe I should do that more often. And Michael picked the title today.
What was it?
Sammy the Bull
put a hit out on
Patrick Bet David. So
it's a 2024 hit, not a 1986 hit. A little different.
That's it. Exactly.
Patrick, he would have lured you right into tallies. If you're
That's
listening.
right. Yeah, with Lee Cole.
Yeah, along with Lee Cole.
Yeah. Michael, $5 donation. Did you ever talk about the Gold Club?
Not yet.
We can announce it now, can't we?
No, let's wait till it's really, really official.
All right.
Well, yeah, we'll be talking about that. Either way, we're going to talk about.
Well, you could tease something. I mean, there's nothing wrong with teasing. Teasing's always good.
Can I
say
tease?
something big is coming? Something's coming. So
don't think we don't get big deal offers. Also, Michael just is so. Michael turns a lot of things down. Let's just say that. But he finally did agree to something. So, but don't ever think because you don't see us on all these big guys that they don't call, because they call.
Well, hold on. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think we're the only one standing. Correct me if I'm wrong. That hasn't been on any big platform.
None. When you see 1,000 people here, when you see our Patreon, when you see our YouTube, this is the three of us. We strategize everything. We do everything ourselves. We don't make appearances everywhere. Everybody, this is just all in-house, grassroots, independent. Like, this is how we did this whole thing. So, but it makes you solid. Like, our audience is solid. Our following is solid. People, it's all real. It's not artificially stimulated by someone else's appearance on their show. They come. Everything we got here is real. So.
Good way to put it. Very well said, RJ.
Yeah. $50 donation to Patreon.
Thank you, Isaac. We'll put that to good use. We'll sponsor some people. That's very much appreciated. We'll add to our membership and Patreon. Thank you.
$10 donation. What happened to Tato Arello after Sammy's cooperation?
Slick, I'm glad you said that. Where you from, Slick? Just if you can, I want to get a mindset because maybe you're a Brooklyn guy. Sammy gives this spiel recently. He always talks about Tato, how close he was to Tato, and Tato did really like Sammy, no question. Really, no question. Sammy was a huge asset for him, especially in the early days. Now, if Sammy really loved Tato and really loved, again, I quotation marks with love because it's just like the word friendship, it don't mean shit with this guy. But if he did, Tato Arello was a major factor in the Gambino family and in that life. Almost like an underrated guy that nobody talks about. And you know why? Because he wasn't that type of guy. He was pure Cosa Nostra, as Sammy says. Sure, he had a girlfriend on the side and all that other nice stuff, and he told nice stories about when Carlo Gambino get mad at him. I hope you don't love me the way you love your wife, and all this other stuff. But if Sammy really loved this guy, and Charlie Boy is his son, who's another great guy. Charlie knows me and Tato only when I was born. My mother worked for him. I used to go there 5-6 years old after school to the shop where my mother's working. And he'd give me a quarter, 50 cents. He really tainted Tato's reputation by calling Tato just about a rat. And I'll tell you why. He said Tato said Sammy did the right thing by flipping and was mad at John. Take that out of your head. Never could happen. He ruined that guy's reputation because he just made Tato a rat by saying that. All the years Tato was in that life and all the work he did, because he was a worker, and I mean killer in that life when he had to be. He wasn't a bloodthirsty killer. He wasn't going out making agendas. He followed orders to do things like that. Again, doesn't make it right in the civilian world. But I'm talking about in the regiment of Cosa Nostra. That guy, the Jimmy Browns, and others, captains, I can name a lot of other guys that got there and weren't looking for the fanfare. You made this guy a rat just now by saying it was okay. He told you it was okay. That's a lie. And that's a disgrace that you pin Tato and Charlie Boy accepting you like that. That's a disgrace.
Could we put up Arkham's question? Well, not question, more of a statement. How he said this is like a slow revenge for John Senior. In a
If
way,
you can, you know what? Not what the time on it is. It's a time next to his name.
no, I'll find it though.
All right,
move on.
But go ahead, Michael. How do you respond to that?
What was it? What's the question again?
This is John. This is slow revenge for John Senior. What you're doing with Sammy, because the way the narrative shifted, because there was it was a different narrative 20 years ago, maybe a little less. And now since he came back, it's shifting where Sammy's the good guy, John's the bad guy. Nobody's really the good guy. We're talking in the genre. We're putting ourselves in that world like a movie. So I don't want to come off that way. But
no, but you know what though? Before Michael got here, and I was here a year before me and Michael started, and the truth is, prior to this show, the Underboss book, the Our Thing show, the Sammy narrative, the Patrick Bet-David interview, the Diane Sawyer appearances, Sammy had very high credibility. People didn't question Sammy as a liar and assume it just wasn't. He was in many ways the gold standard. He really was the big guy that a lot of people listened to. And John Jr. was looked at like just his daddy's son, dumb fella, all that stuff. That narrative rang. Junior didn't have a strong look. People didn't really look at Junior like he was like the acting boss of the Gambino family that was really running shit. And John Sr. was looked at like just a guy that he was a media hound and all he wanted to do was be around the media, and he tore down the mob. That was like the general consensus. And since the arrival of you, Michael, all three of those things are completely different. John Jr. is looked at completely different, not as a man with his family and his wife and but as a guy in the Gambino family. Totally different. He's looked at. John Sr., totally different. People don't even really say anymore that John Sr. brought down the mafia. You don't even hear that anymore. And there's more question marks around Sammy's stories now than there were before.
Well, RJ, funny you said that about bringing down the mob and all that other stuff. The mob's never been brought down. It's been hit hard. And to RJ's credit, he did a short, like 20 minutes, I think it is, right? About John Gleason and Sammy, the damage he did. And that will be coming out very soon. RJ's finished it up, and it just ties into what RJ just said. But to get back to Ark's statement was, I learned a long time ago. These little proverbs, these little sayings, especially the Sicilian ones, stick with me. I like the term "the death of 1,000 cuts," and that's what in essence, is what we're doing to Gravano and his narrative. Is a death of 1,000 cuts. He needs to feel the pain every day. And if I'm going to be the guy to exact it, and why I want to exact it, because he's not telling the truth about a lot of stuff. He changes the narrative. Like Tato. It's disgraceful. So this is me. If I could be the guy for the death of 1,000 cuts for him, and our outlet with RJ, Mikey, and others that help us out here, so be it.
And you know what? Yeah.
I'm not a crusader, but he brought me here. This guy brought me out. So
but you know what? Yeah, the way John Senior died. Let's just say John Cena did a lot of bad deeds in his life, right?
Yeah.
Everything he did that was bad, he never let anybody else pay for it by telling on them. And some people looks at that a certain way, but I'll take it a step further. Look at the way he died. Think about how he was cognizant. He was laying there in a bed, right? The guy suffered beyond belief. So he paid for everything he did slowly. And I don't know how long he suffered for, but however long that.
Yes, it was years.
You ever get a throat infection? You ever get a real bad throat infection? It's miserable. He died from getting a throat infection, and it just corrupted him. So that guy paid for what he did. And you know what? You got to give it to him. So when a guy like Sammy comes along and wants to make him out to be a rat, when this guy suffered and paid for what he did the right way, right? A lot of people would say he did pay the right way. He spent the rest of his life in jail for everything he did. Well, Sammy's out here living good.
Michael, it strikes a great point, because I said this before. I'll say it again. Sammy's like he did with other people on here, like he did with Joy's brother. He's a junkie, like irrelevant. He's a piece of trash. He's a junk. So he's dead. So what? That's what Sammy means when he says he's a junkie. He's no good for society. So what? He got killed. He's gone. He was no good anyway. And this is with John. John died again with his sword in the hand, right? In that life, in Cosa Nostra, for that life. All his mistakes. Not going to glorify. He died with that sword, just like you said, Michael. He paid the price. Sammy's going to die with his dick in his hand. Excuse me, ladies.
He'll be happy about that.
That's what he's going to die with. And that's his jealousy. That's what he hates most about me talking about John and correcting everything. And Junior and anybody else out there that he called Mike the Battered Junkie. So what? I don't get it. I don't get why he took that guy. He had a little girl. She was about 1 year old. Eddie Garofalo baptized his daughter, Mike's daughter. You bang him out? A guy who loved you? A guy you said in your own videos was going to die for you? Go to war with Paul Castellana and die? You bang the guy out? Come on. Next question. I'm getting riled up again.
Yeah, start sweating a little bit.
No, it's cool out here right now. But my face is getting red. I see it.
Yeah, but it's points we had to make because you know what? When you put it into that kind of perspective, it makes everybody understand a little bit, you know, including us. The only reason why you come up with this is we talk and we figure it out. So we're not just hating.
Oh no, you put me in the hate department.
Yeah, it's for a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
$20 donation, guys. Thanks from Belfast, Ireland. Was Sammy dealing narcotics with Gene before Gene went to jail?
No, I don't think they had any business dealings together. John alludes to the November 30th, 89 tape about guys in the drug business speaking to Sammy. Sammy's on that. I think John was giving him a dig about something with Gaspipe he mentions. If you get a chance, I don't know if Big G there. I don't know if you're on Patreon, but forget about that 20. Go join Patreon, or we'll sponsor you now with the money you just donated. If you're on Patreon, go listen to that tape. You'll get it. But Gene, no. Gene and Sammy, no. As far as I know, no.
So when Gaspipe, I'd like to go back to this now. So when Gaspipe and Sammy will walk around the park, drugs?
Combination of both. I think it was a lot of union stuff and drugs. That's my opinion. Again, I
love to get your opinion.
I like to see Gaspipe's 302s. Again, not all of them could be. Let me just clear something up. 302s are an FBI agent's writings reduced on paper to writings. They're paraphrases usually by somebody that's giving them information. So a lot of times you could see that sometimes the way somebody writes something or hears something, it may be wrong. It may be the way somebody wrote it down on the paper. And this ain't to say there's corruption, that an FBI agent was corrupt. But sometimes you speak, you could write something wrong, because I've seen that before. And then there's other guys who do lie. And the agent writes down what the guy told them. But I've read 302s in the past when I know guys lied, that flipped. So they're not pristine. They're not 100% correct. Again, paraphrasing. Some agents write long statements on a guy who's flipped, or very short bullet point.
RJ, could you throw up Dan Camber? His comment, not too far up. Very good comment.
Let me see here.
I like that one.
Dan Camber.
Well, he said Senior even took the blame for Sammy's murders and his bad business deals. When you think about it. Not only did John not rat,
he did on tape.
He accepted it.
He listened to the tapes. John was saying that. He said that to Frankie LaCasso.
Well, Dan's a Patreon member, so he definitely listened.
Yep. And John says that. I tell everybody downstairs, it was me. I knew what Sammy was doing. He takes the heat. Right.
Happy New Year to you all. Whose crew did Michael take over when he became a captain? What's your thoughts on the modern day Cosa Nostra?
Thanks.
$5 donation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ali. it was a new crew formed. I would have loved to have Jackie's, but it was Jackie's at the time, and Jackie was straightened out in that crew because that was the oldest, and that was my grandfather's crew going way back. Who knows, the teens, baby. But no, it was a new crew.
$20 donation from JJ for 2 memberships. Question: did RJ ever learn the difference between sauce and gravy? I think I did.
I still debate. I had a debate with somebody the other day who came in. We had a little talk. Complete stranger on sauce and gravy.
Gravy is brown and sauce is red.
Well, you changed my mind on it. I used to be a sauce guy, and then you spoke to me and you broke it down with the meat and the gravy and everything else. And when there's beef and there's meat in there, it turns into gravy.
That's right. I presented my case.
Sauces for mozzarella sticks.
That's right.
We reached so far 996 in the chat. So Junior, gotta give you all credit here, man. You're the one that pushed for this live last night and this morning. So that's the biggest live we ever got. And Michael picked the title, so we produced a good show today.
Yeah. I felt the energy. There was energy building. You could feel it.
Yeah.
Stacy, you seen him in Bergen Beach? Yeah, going into Mill Basin. Yeah, Gaspipe. That was a Chinese restaurant. It'll come to me, the name of the restaurant. It was a Chinese restaurant on the Triangle. Yep.
$10 donation. Our life in Wyoming. Just a donation. Thank you.
We'll put all these donations to good use with sponsorships. Anybody on YouTube that can't afford it to jump onto Patreon or just want to test the waters, we have a little more funding to sponsor you to come on over.
Mikey Jr.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
$2 donation. Mikey Jr. still handsome as ever.
Uh-oh.
No, I think he means senior. Mikey, you're still handsome as ever.
Oh, yeah, she does mean that. Sorry, I thought it said Mikey Jr. Yep, she's talking about you.
I'll take it. When you get to be 70 years old, you'll take any compliment you can.
I was feeling that way at 39. Buy a few Patreon memberships. That Jeff Nadeau. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff was out last night trying to get me to come. I didn't go. Okay, let's see.
Cigar bar? You went to the cigar bar?
No, I didn't go. Jeff went out to the cigar bar, but he was asking me to go, but I didn't go. So
NYC. Let me throw this one in there. NYC, New York City. What happened to Tommy Cherubino? Tommy's my Gumbada. I know him since 5 years old. Well, I'm double Gumbadas with Tommy, as a matter of fact. We used to hold hands going to school, 5, across the street together. And he was in the oil business, oil trucking business, some other businesses. After I flipped, I had zero contact with Tommy.
$5 donation kicking up to the boss. I think he might be being facetious here, being a little funny.
Thanks, Good
one. When's the last time you talked to Junior Gotti?
Well, the last time we had an intermediary was a lawyer, Richie Rayback, was in when I was sitting in MCC. Directly 98, somewhere in 98. January, February 98. It's the last time I directly spoke with him because he got arrested in the Scorch case.
How was John Sr. an acting captain when he didn't have a button?
Hey, that's a good one. I know, broke a lot of protocols, huh? I agree. But that speaks volumes, right? Doesn't that speak volumes on the Paul Castellano? Doesn't it speak volumes of what John was going to be?
I always say that. That's something. This is funny comment right here. JJ says it's easier to get a hold of Michael than it is RJ, is what he's saying, which is funny because the only people that have your number are the ones that are really close with us, like real. Everybody has my number. Every time we set up a phone call with someone, I call from my phone and I patch Michael in. So there's hundreds and hundreds of people between YouTube and Patreon that has my number, and there might be 5 or so 10. I don't know how many 20 Michael that has Michael. So that's why it's easier, JJ. But JJ is a great friend of the show. He's in constant communication with us both. I might have a text from you, JJ. So if that's what you're referring to, I don't know. Let's see. Right now, I got 40 unread messages. So there we go. That's how it takes me like an hour. And that's not even that bad. I started earlier. I wake up every day to 100 and some text messages.
So while we got an audience here of 900, right? Tell them about JJ, how they can find them.
Yeah. So JJ Lambon's Cloudy Production. That's his name right there. He's on YouTube. He's another creator on here. Makes a lot of good content. So go subscribe to his channel. American Made's also in here. American Made's a great guy. He was the first interview I did for my book. You can go check out him.
Don't forget Jeff They Do.
Nah, I'm not shouting out. No, I'm just playing. Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to my father-in-law. He's got a comic book store, card store on Highland Boulevard, 4011 Highland Boulevard in Great Kills. Go in there, check it out. Tell them we sent you.
Hey, Mike, why don't you do this?
Can I shout out my book? Woo! Guys, pick up my book, The Don, the 36 Rules of the Bosses. It's in stores now. Should I pick one person and give out a copy, Michael?
Yeah, 100%. I'll give your money away in a minute.
All right. Guys, look
wait, before let me just finish up with Mikey. Michael, again, I'm going to put you and RJ on the spot. You ready? Next time you go into Staten Island, you're going to go there, a day notice. Give a shout out here and meet some of our people there at the store.
Okay, we can set a day.
Yeah,
and RJ,
we'll do a book signing together.
We'll do a book signing. That's it.
Yeah, you could do
guys. It's like a freaking coffee table book. We got original black hand scribbles inside of there. It's 3-color print. It's beautiful, beautiful. Look at the end paper. Look at that, freaking beautiful.
Yeah, but the words that what's in it is what's heavy. That's what carries the weight.
So there's never been the psychology of the mafia, the theory, it's the first social strategy, social behavior book ever written on the mafia. So 36 Rules of the Bosses. Check it out. It's produced by the same guy that produced the 48 Laws of Power. Great.
Oh, I gave you a plug there that night. I'll tell you how. I was in a restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant introduced me to a guy who's an author.
Okay.
I don't want to give his name up because maybe he don't want me to give his name up. But he was an author. And we were chatting a little bit. And I said, did you see my partner's book? He says, yeah. I says, The Don? He says, yeah. You read it? He says, yeah, very good.
Wow.
You like it? There's another author.
Okay, you have to tell me who it is when you're done.
Yeah, I don't want to, without, I don't know. I don't want to give up the guy yet. But he's going to call me. He's going to call me next week or so. We're going to go to dinner.
That makes me happy to hear someone that. So yeah, it's been received well. A lot of people have reached out, so my publisher's very happy. So thank you guys. Pick up the book. I'll pick someone out of the chat and I'll send them a book autographed from me and Michael.
So what you do right now? Look, write down a number on a piece of paper.
Okay. From what?
1 to 20.
1 to 20.
And everybody in here pick out a number. Listen, let's say you pick number 10, right? And there's a number 10, you got to give 2 books.
We have 1,000 people here. What if everyone hits? What if I got 20 people that say 10?
Hey, that's on you. I told you I like giving your money away.
I got about 25 or 30 copies in my office. So I will pick out.
Did you write the number? The numbers are coming in like crazy right now.
I got the number.
Close your eyes.
Oh, that's great. That's pretty funny.
So hold on. It's the first person that hits the number.
Yeah.
How's that? The first, I have the number written down. Let me write it here so no one thinks I'm cheating. And whoever gets it will get a autographed copy with me and Michael's signature. And Junior, you going to sign it too?
Where'd he go? We lost him.
Well, he'll sign it too. So I'll sign it. I'll ship it to Junior. He'll sign it, ship it to you.
I got a book coming up right now, so I got one for you. I'll go buy a couple of more tomorrow, and I'll sign them and I'll send it up. A friend of mine's, my kumbada's leaving. He's going back up to New Jersey.
All right,
he'll be a courier for me. He don't know.
Michael, oh my God! Look at all these numbers. How many should we give out?
I don't know. What number did you hit?
No, but I said I'll give out one, but my God, I'm gonna feel bad. Look at all these
Well, you
people.
gotta have a cutoff, otherwise.
Oh my God. Let's see. Actually,
Oh, it's pumping, RJ. It hasn't even stopped.
oh my goodness. Oh, I think I got the winner. But the funny thing is, only one person. Wow. The funny thing is, only one person got picked that number.
There you go. All right, winner. Who is it?
Hang on. I just want to verify that there's nobody else, because if there is two, we'll give out two. But so far, let's see. All right. So, wow. Okay, we're gonna give out two copies because there's two people who picked the right number. So here we go. The winner is going to be, and I'll show you. 6. So the winners are Bob Bustillo. Let me write that down. Bob, you're getting the autographed copy. Now, again, I just shipped out 3 copies yesterday to people who won something. Okay, and then the other one is Carmine the Cook. So guys, email the show at mdnoexcuses@gmail. If I don't get your address, I can't ship your book. So email your mailing address to
Joe says 6 is bad luck. Pick another number.
So Carmine the Cook and Rob Bustillo, you both are getting an autographed copy from me and Michael and Junior. We'll all sign it and we'll send it out to you. So gotta get your emails though. mdnoexcuses@gmail.com. We'll take a couple more questions and we'll wrap up the show. Let's see.
I jinxed the show, by the way. I just got to say it. I jinxed the show before. I wrote I wasn't going to stop counting down until we hit 1,000. And
you know what?
We never hit 1,000.
We got 996. I started smiling and thinking, let's get ready to hit 1,000. And we lost.
And I
it.
said something.
During the time, do you remember any significant events between the Gambinos and Bonanos that could have led to a war?
No, we basically, our families going back had a pretty good relationship with them. Don't forget John's relationship, John Sr.'s relationship with Joe Messina. And we know Joe Messina had a lot of influence over Rusty. So, and our families did things together. There was murders done with them together. So, including Paul Castellano's son-in-law. So, no, I don't remember anything. No.
King Gordy, I have gone back through a lot of your old videos relating to Louis Melito. It seems to me you may be holding things back from us.
Maybe a little bit. We'll see in time.
Let's see here.
Good pickup, Gordy. He's Australian, right? You're from Australia.
Final question. Michael, do you regret stopping Junior from killing Sammy? Woo, what a question.
That's a good hard question. You got to be honest.
Well, at that time, look, I got to put myself back in that. Meaning now, do I regret it? No, because I think at that time it would have been a very bad move to kill him. At that time in '95 when he came home, Sammy came home Easter of '95. He was out. He probably wound up in Arizona. He was in a couple other states. I think Colorado being one. Maybe within a year. No, I have to go back to that mindset at that time, and still say no. I'm glad I didn't jump on that at that time with him.
And not even just that. It's good not to have a murder on your conscience.
That also. But it would have been very, very bad, not only for our family, for the other families. Again, you're obligated to try to kill a guy like that, and what he did to our boss, sure. But a lot of things come into play, and sometimes you can't have your emotion on your sleeves. It would have been devastating for our family if he would have killed him in '96. Devastating.
Well, guys, this was fun. It was a good show. It was our most interactive live that but hold on, before we have, I found something just now that a little bit this much contradicts what you said a little bit just now. Let's play this. Only 59 seconds. This is a guys, when you listen to this is some of the great stuff you're missing if you're not on Patreon. This is a teaser from one of our Patreon shows. Can't say, well, that guy across the street's raping little kids, but he's not raping my kid.
It was Cosa Nostra, John's way.
Cosa Nostra till I die.
No. And you know how I feel about John.
Hey, Mike, I went to your brother's funeral.
Hey, Sammy, I stopped them from killing you in 96. You're alive today because of me. If I go to Junior, you're dead.
John Gotti, yes. I think that he was a born gangster.
Because Fat Sal and all these other guys, the Hucks of the world, are not going out there to do it.
I think that meant everything. The streets meant everything to him.
There would have been a real team to go out there and clip you.
That family came before his family. We came, his wife and kids came second.
So you talk about going to my brother's funeral? You didn't go to your own funeral because I didn't. I forgot that.
I don't think I've ever seen this.
And I'm not looking for a thank you. I think I made a mistake.
Oh my God.
How'd you find that? Because I didn't intervene.
Oh, he had that
You
ready
wanted
to
to
go.
personally
He had
do
that
it.
ready to go.
And I'm not looking for a thank you. I think I made a mistake.
That laugh at the end. No, I just searched our YouTube channel real quick because it's up on a teaser on our YouTube channel. I make all the videos and all the edits, so I know my thumbnails. But
I forgot all about that one.
that ending is like, see, people don't really know the whole context of this discussion because I clipped it all up. But you wanted him personally dead at the time.
And I'm not looking for a thank you. I think I made a mistake.
Oh my God.
You got to make it into a short.
Okay.
You got to make a nice little short.
He said, I'm not. Now, what he was talking about, guys, if you don't get the whole context, he was saying, I might have made a mistake not killing you, so I'm not looking for a thank you.
That was pretty witty of you. That was quick. I forgot all about it.
That's one of the Gotti tapes. Michael, that's the one thing. We got 16 hours, guys, of the Gotti tape breakdowns. If you want to watch anything that has never been done before, we analyzed, well, I read them. I read every word that John Gotti said in Above the Ravenite and used and was used in court. So the full transcripts of the apartment above the Ravenite, Michael analyzed every word. It took us 16 hours to analyze all of it. So it's 16 parts or 14 parts or something up on Patreon right now. It's really good. We have 2 on YouTube, part 1 and part 2, but it's very good. That's one of them, I believe. So anyway, good show. This was fun. Bob Bustillo and Carmine the Cook. Make sure you send in your mailing addresses to mdnoexcuses@gmail. If you send them today, I'll ship you the book tomorrow. Junior, this was good, man. You were right. This was good that we came on and did that.
Yeah, I felt the energy. I knew we had to do something.
Yeah.
I wanted to laugh, maybe.
And it was a football playoff Sunday just about. There was a couple of playoff teams in the playoff contention still. So they take their time out and come and hang out with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, we do appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Peace and love. Join us on Patreon. Don't not join because you don't have money. If you need a sponsorship, email the show, mdnoexcuses@gmail. We got like a real community over there, like a real family. Anybody who doesn't have a Patreon, I'm really sorry for you because you really get to meet. There's friends that have been made on Patreon.
Yeah.
People get together and they talk over the phone. We have made many friends. I got friends in all over the place now who I consider my real friends. People like Carlos Harris is I owe him a phone call today. Paul Cranfield. Man, I shouldn't say names because I know I'm gonna leave some people out. Joe Braves fan. Man, I know
James Rams. James. We got a lot. Well, we met most of these people in person, so
yeah,
all of them.
Yeah,
our meet and greets. That's another thing. Got to push Mikey and them for the meet and greets. Anybody's my way, I'll meet you down there.
We meet up with a lot of people. If you took every time you met up with somebody, with me or Junior or by yourself, it has to be 24 by this point.
Oh yeah, easy.
So we meet up with people. We have drinks, we have dinner. It doesn't cost you a dime. You're not being charged for anything. So, you really should join Patreon. We do a lot of cool stuff on there, and really trying to get to know everybody. So come over to Patreon. And here's the thing. On Patreon, there's no trolls. You don't got to deal with no people attacking you for your opinion, people fighting. It's a really interactive environment. So come on over if you haven't joined. If you can't pay, email us, mdnoexcuses@gmail.com. MD as in Michael D. Leonardo, no excuses. Peace and love. Michael, close it out.
Well, thank you for being here. God bless. Keep smiling. Stay close to your family because that's what's left in the end, your families.